Hello, ID60. So I'm going to show you how to insert the lines over your image for assignment number 3. So just like in assignment 2, you are inserting pictures. So wherever you save them, you'll insert it. And like always, it comes in too big, but you're going to overlay your image onto the gray box and then using the corner, shrink it. But notice it's still too big in one direction. So depending on how your image is laid out, it will be too big in one direction. When you crop it this time, you want to make sure that you're not cropping the main idea of the principle. So in this case, my principle is symmetry. So I am going to crop it a bit from the top and a bit from the bottom so that I'm not losing any of the symmetry in the image. So there's a little crop there and a little crop there. Okay, so now it's fitting right on top of my gray box. So now what you want to do is the directions are to describe graphically the principle that you're seeing in the image. So because this is symmetry and we'll describe it down here at the bottom, I am going to insert a shape. And in this case, my shape is a line. And so I can hold it where I think the middle is. So probably about right there. I'm sure the dot is the middle of the image. And so you can see it's drawing a line and it's kind of, I don't want to say free form, it's straight, but it's not necessarily completely vertical. If I push the shift key, then it sticks. I can't move it. So if you want to make sure you're getting a straight line, just hit the shift key and then it'll stick to either vertical or horizontal and you will get a nice straight line. I really don't like the blue though. So what I'm going to do is make sure that the white dots are activated on my line. And then I'm going to go to shape outline and I'm deciding I'm going to do that in red. And this is, I remember in the lecture, I said if you folded your image or your room in half, that it would be the same on each side for symmetry. So this is basically the fold that I am creating. It's actually called an axis. So I've colored it red, but maybe I want it to be a little thicker so I see it better. So I could change the weight. And maybe because it's sort of a measuring line, it's not really part of the principle, maybe I'll make it dashed. So that's my first step. So now I have the sort of center line. If you think it's a little bit off, you can always click on it. And sometimes moving it with the mouse is challenging, but with your little arrows on your computer, you can scooch it over and get it perfect. So then there are other shapes. So what my goal is to show that the same basic shapes are happening on both sides of this image. So I'm going to insert another shape and you don't have to trace the elements exactly, just give me a general idea so that I know you know. So when I look at this lamp, I'm just going to kind of cover the lamp. But that shape happened. It's blue. I don't like the blue. I really want to see the lamp through it. So I'm going to click on the lamp. I get this, go up to shape fill. And in shape fill, I say no fill. And I'll do that again. But I still want all my lines to be red in this case. So I'm going to edit it and make it red. I still want it to be a little thicker of a line because that's hard to see. So I'm going to go down to 3 point. So now when I click away, I can see that box is sort of highlighting my lamp. So either you can do that again, or you can click on that shape and then right mouse and copy, and then right mouse and paste. I copied the whole thing. Let's see. So I'm only trying to copy that. So I'm copying and then I am pasting. So now I have 2 and I can just go right over to this one. And that kind of makes it nice because I know for sure that it's the same size. So something else that is making this symmetrical is the mirror. So I went into the shape toolbox and I picked a circle. And so now I'm going to draw a circle over this fixture, or I should say this mirror. And so you'll see, again, if I'm not holding down the shift, that circle could become an ellipse, get sort of weird shapes. But if I hold down the shift, it automatically turns into a circle. So I'm holding down the shift and approximating the size. And then I put it over my mirror, and I'm going to do the same thing. I do not want to fill because I want to see it. So that means it's no longer filled in. The shape outline is going to be red. I want the weight to be a 3. And it's not quite even, so I'm going to use my arrows to kind of shift it exactly where I want it to be. So now I have an outline there. So there's a lot of things in this space that I could highlight in order to show that it is symmetrical. If you want an odd shape, you can kind of find the shape that you want here and just play with it. There is a way that you can draw like squiggly lines if you want to do that. Or, let's see, I'm going to delete that. Or you could do arcs. So all of these things are available to you. I actually used this one for my sofa. And again, you have to play with it a little bit, but it's a rectangle that you can shift and make into this shape that really sort of mimics the top of the sofa. And then you basically do the same thing. The shape outline, I want to be red. The fill, I don't want any fill, but I do want the weight to be a little bit heavier so we can see it. And voila. So you could do as much with that to prove to me that it is symmetrical as you want. So because some of these have different categories of balance, different categories of rhythm, you can add which balance you are showing me. So in this case, it would be symmetry. And then you would tell me how are you seeing the symmetry happen and why is that symmetrical? So basically, why is the definition and how is what are you seeing? Okay. Only other question you may have is extra credit. So you want as much as possible for me to see easily all of the different elements you found in your image. So if you do each element a different color and then listed the elements in the color that pertains to the diagram, that would be very easy. So, but that one's extra credit if you choose to do so. You're basically telling me finding an image that has a lot of elements and then diagramming them all in one image. Okay. Oh, something happened. My crop went away. So let me just recrop it for you because I don't want to leave you with a bad example. So picture format, crop. I don't know why that happened. So if something goes wacky, you can always fix it. So there's my crop and my red lines are there. If for some reason you're drawing and you end up and you can't see your shapes, like you're drawing, and they're just disappearing, probably what's happening is they're being drawn behind the image. So you want to take your image and you can send it backwards. And so all of these are on a different layer. So you could send it to the back, but then the gray box ends up on top of it. You can always, once you're done with it, delete the gray box. Okay, so if you're drawing and you're not seeing the lines showing up, it's probably because they're behind your image. So just send your image all the way to the back, and if you need to, you can delete the gray box. Okay, I think that's it. Have fun.